Hey, what's good, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, it is yours truly, Mike, coming back at you guys with another video today. Nayon din, as we always do, magandang umaga, magandang gabi, magandang hapon, which means good morning, good evening, and of course, good afternoon, depending on what time you guys choose to watch this video today. Alright, I have been thinking about this topic for quite some time, and I just decided to take the time to actually discuss it Nayon din, which means right now. Okay, I'm a little bit upset with myself right now simply because I know I should be doing work right now, but I just been lazy all day today and I just haven't put in the work like I know I should. So I'm a little bit upset with myself, but this is actually a topic that I really wanted to talk about, get it off my chest real quick, and then I promise I'm gonna just go back to what I'm supposed to actually be doing. All right? I'm not gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is a topic that has been needed to be talked about for a long time. Now, I know I mentioned some of these things in a video a long time ago. I'm trying not to sneeze. Hold on. I know that I mentioned these things in a video a minute ago. It was probably within my first, 10 or so uploads, right? And today I wanted to really discuss it and bring it to light the way that I know how. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, 100% honest. Yeah, I don't mean no disrespect. Don't want nobody coming in my comment section acting a fool on me because I may say some things that may be somewhat offensive. That's not what this is going to be about, okay? So I'm definitely going to try to watch my words because, I mean no disrespect, because we all in the same boat when we out there in the Philippines. All foreigners, no matter where we from, we all in the same boat. You understand? We all there. It's not our country. We all there. Just moving around, having a good time most of the time, all right? But today I wanted to discuss two particular races. As you see in the title before you, I wanted to talk about African Americans versus Africans in the Philippines, as it refers to the Philippines, okay? So, as a man, I'm just going to go ahead and lay the foundation for you the way that I always do. When I first got to the Philippines, my dad and my brother were already there. I told you that. They told me one specific thing when I got to the Philippines that was really prominent and something that really needed to be made note of. They told me, if people ask you where you're from or ask you what's your race, it is in your best interest to tell them that you are Black American as opposed to African American. Again, if you are from the United States and you are Black American or African American, refer to yourself as Black American, not African American. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you tell a Filipina or Filipino, whatever it may be, that you're African American, they only hear the word African and they roll with African. So they think that you are African. Now, me personally, my dad's been to Africa, I should say, and I've been meaning to get out there with them, and I've really been trying to make this trip, but I ain't got a chance to make it yet. But at the end of the day, I have yet to go to Africa. My dad's been there, he's explaining to me and everything like that. So, but, basically what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't been there, you're not from there, make sure you let them know you are Black American, simply because they hear African, they think African. Now, let's be honest, man. I've told you this 1,000 times in a row, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. Filipinos are very, very, very stereotypical. Stereotypical people, all right? Let's not sugarcoat this shit. We can be stereotypical, too. What did I say to you guys in the other video about Asian women? Most of y'all think that they are these skinny little petite things. Y'all ain't even know that they had all of this, all right? Most of y'all didn't even know that, and y'all don't know that until you've actually been to the country, people. Whew. I don't want to get into that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. One of my videos about, let's talk about, what was it, thick Filipinos or thick Asian women and why some people find it hard to believe. Yes, that was my video, man. That was my favorite video, and it was my favorite topic to talk about. Some people hated it, most people liked it, so it was cool. But like I'm saying, we can be stereotypical. So you already know for a fact Filipinos are very, very stereotypical. They hear African, they think African. All right? Now, you have to think of it like this. When they think of Africa, they think of Africa along the same lines as the Philippines, all right? Basically, they're both pretty much third world type countries, okay? They're both pretty much economically in the same place. Not all areas in Africa and not all areas in the Philippines are dirty and dank and stank and stuff like that. It's just not like that. It's not all the areas, but for the most part, if you talk about the region as a whole, Philippines is a third world country, and I believe Africa is also a third world country. You understand? Like I said, you can talk about South Africa. That's different. You know, there are parts of Africa that are really, really beautiful. Again, there are parts of the Philippines that are really, really beautiful. But the overall consensus is that both countries are third world countries. So if you tell a girl, or they hear that you're African, or they believe that you're African, they're probably gonna look at you different. Okay? I don't wanna see, this is where I don't wanna take it. But I'm gonna take it there. You know what I'm saying? Simply because it's just real. Like, when they hear or they believe that you're from Africa, they kind of look at you a little bit different. You know, they look at you as somebody coming from a poor country and shit like that. It's fucked up. It's true. It truly is. It's not cool, but it's true. They look at you from that perspective. They look at it as, yo, he's from Africa. He's no different than me. He's no better than me. You know, I don't really care to deal with him because, you know, I don't really, you know, Africa is different. You know, it's just the way that it is. That's some, not all. Let me make sure I make that clear. Some Filipinos have that stereotypical attitude, and that's what they believe when they hear about Africa. But let's say you're African American, you tell them I'm Black American, they like, oh, okay, I see you. Yeah, you Black American, you got that American passport. Where my passport at? Damn, where my passport at? Hold on, I'm gonna give y'all my passport. Hold on. Nope. Ah, it's all over there, huh? Well, anyways, hold on. Oh, is it over here? No, it's right here. See? Overlooking my own passport. Alright, bet. They see this thing right here? They see this thing right here? I mean, I'm not saying you should use this to your advantage or you should carry this around everywhere you go, but just in case you have to prove to people that you are Black American and that you are from the United States, pull this thing out right here that makes you legit, people. You have one of these, they look at you a whole lot different. Simply because you come from a quote-unquote rich country. So they are more receptive to you. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's be honest. They are more receptive to people who come from rich countries like UK and Australia, New Zealand, the United States, Korea, you know, South Korea, more specifically, Japan. You know, they are more receptive in China. You know, they are more receptive to those people because they are perceived to have more money. But in this instance, we're talking about being African American versus African. You know, don't get it twisted though. Africans can get girls too. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. They get girls no different than we do. You know, no different. I mean, I think that honestly, being Black American and being African American, I like to refer to it as Black American. Your opportunities and things like that are a little bit more. You know, women are a little bit more receptive to you, especially when they hear you speaking in really pure good English, and you're not speaking that English with a broken accent, like, you know, most Africans may speak, like when they're talking. You know, you get a lot of love out there. Just being honest. African Americans, Black Americans get a lot of love in the Philippines. You know, and I think that they do. Honestly, I believe that they do get more love than, you know, Africans in the country. Now, I have African friends that were living in the country, though. I've ran into quite a few. I've talked to them. I chopped it up with them. You know, and they're really, don't get it twisted, man. I mean, we're all in the same boat. Yeah, we look alike. That's just the way that it is. And I'm going to talk to you, you know, ask you where you from, how you got here. You know, I want to know you. And I'm going to tell you my story, too. It's just the way that it is. But at the end of the day, when it comes to women's perception or Filipino perception, first things first, regardless of whatever, because you look a certain kind of way, they're going to believe that you are African, people. If you come to the country, you're Black American or not, Black American, dark skin such as yours truly, they are going to automatically believe that you are African. All right? Until you tell them, nah, I'm not African, I'm Black American. And they hear you talk, and they're like, oh, okay, my brother, you know, that's when they'll finally get the hint. You know, they automatically assume that you're African until you talk. But let's keep it 100 though, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm not talking down because I know a lot of brothers that come from Africa that got it popping in the Philippines. They get mad girls, and you know why they get mad girls? Because they are part of the college basketball team out there in the Philippines. Okay, I've noticed a lot of brothers, they refer to them as imports. Like, if you bring in a foreigner from an outside country to play for your team, your college team, your professional team in the PBA, whatever it may be, when you bring somebody in from the outside to play for your team, you are considered an import. You know, they're bringing you in to hopefully make the team better. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right? So, basically what happens is, you know, you're part of this team. You know, you part of a team. And basketball is the biggest sport in that country. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. Basketball is the biggest sport in the Philippines ever. Okay? Now, if you're a brother, you're African and you come and you playing for a school team, let's not get it twisted, man. You're gonna get a lot of love. And there are a lot of them doing that for sure. You know, they're given an opportunity to study in the Philippines and also play ball. You get a full scholarship, get an education, the whole nine, for playing ball for the team. And there are a lot of African brethren out there that are doing their thing. So don't think that just because, you know, they have a perception of some Africans, you know, because they both come from third world countries, that they're on the same level, you know, don't think or get it twisted that they don't get love too. You know, in that particular perspective, they get a lot of love, way more love than I know I would, you know, because, you know, when you play basketball, and everybody loves it when you play basketball, if you could dunk, oh man, you've made somebody's day, man. If they see you dunk a basketball, man, you have really come up in the world. But yeah, I just wanted to lay that out there real quick. I mean, if you're a Black American, you should probably if you're African American, you should probably refer to yourself as Black American, simply because they hear African before the American and they only focus on the word African, you know, and they'll believe that you are actually African as opposed to being African American. So refer to yourself as Black American. But if you are African, don't get it twisted, man. Y'all get a lot of love out there too. And again, I don't want this video to come off like, you know, like I just don't want it to come off in a negative light. I'm just explaining what I've learned and what I've experienced being in the country for as long as I did. You know, I got confused for being African a lot until they asked me. They're like, oh, where are you from, brother? You're from Africa? I'm like, nah, I'm Black American, you know, from Las Vegas, Nevada, or whatever. I just tell them that's where I'm from. And they're like, oh, okay. They hear you talk, and that's when they realize that you truly are American. You know, I don't know, you know, I know how people perceive, you know, certain races out there in the Philippines. So I'm actually very, very familiar about how they perceive certain races out there. And, you know, it's kind of hit and miss. It just depends on the Filipino mood. But most of the time, they're welcoming to us in their country. I mean, I've never had any static, or I've never had somebody tell me, go back to Africa, or, you know, I've never heard that, actually. Somebody may have slid in the N-word, you know, but I've never heard nobody, like, get out of my country. I've never heard that. That's ironic. That's weird to me. But then again, it's not. Because, I mean, foreigner money is good money. Let's be honest. But I've never heard somebody say, go back to Africa, or go back to, like, your home place or something like that. I've never come across that. My whole 10-year experience, never came across that. That's ironic and weird at the same time. But like I said, man, it doesn't matter what country you are from. We are all in the same boat when we go to the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen. We are all foreigners in a foreign country, i.e., we are all different races coming together in a country that is not our own. Like me, I made it my own, but that is not my home country. That is not where I am from. I am proud to be an American. I'll say that time and time again. This thing right here is my guy. You know what I'm saying? And I would never in a million years change that in for the world. Trade it in for the world. And if you are an American, be proud of it. I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know, you take that into another country. You know, I'm not gonna say use that to get girls though. Don't do that. That's a cop out. That's like an easy, cheap trick. You know what I'm saying? I don't like guys who do that. Just bring out their passport, and that's like supposed to make some girls, you know, make some girls jump on you and stuff. I don't really care for that type of attitude. I don't really like it. I mean, you gotta have game, man. Come with it a whole different way. When they hear you are American, you don't need this passport. That's just something to have, okay? At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just telling you, you know, there is a stark difference between being African American and African in the Philippines. And that mainly comes from the locals' perception of you as being African or African American. When they know you are African American or Black American, I feel like they're a little bit more receptive to you. They're a little bit more open to you. They hear that you're from Africa. You know, they may have some, what do you call it? They may have they may be a little bit standoffish, or they may have these preconceived notions about you being from Africa, you know? And to be honest with you, though, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. A lot of Africans get into some drug shit out there in the Philippines, bruh. Let me lay that in real quick. I didn't even want to include that, but that's what happens when you get into the spontaneous mode. That shit really did just pop into my head right now. A lot of brothers get into some real, like African brothers. They get into some really, like, drug trafficking type, moving drugs and shit like that in the country. So I kind of, sort of, from that perspective, I want to separate myself as far away from that as humanly possible. Because if you know the current country's president, Rodrigo Duterte, you know that man don't have no play on no drugs, man. And I'm telling you, the last thing I need to do is look suspect or coming through the airport and somebody want to search me because I look a certain kind of way. I make sure my passport says it all. Because sometimes, I'm telling you, man, those African brothers get into some drug stuff over there in the Philippines. And don't get me wrong, it's a way you earn money. You do you, but I got to stay away from that. I don't want to be confused for being African from that particular standpoint. Because the last thing I want to do is go to jail in the Philippines, ever. The second thing, I don't want to get kicked out the country, man. I'm here to enjoy myself. Y'all keep that drug stuff over there. So again, I have known a lot of African brothers get into some drug stuff over there. And there may be a couple of brothers of black Americans out there that may do it, but I mean, you don't hear about it as often. I never heard of it. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but, drug activity is really prominent in the Philippines. If you hear about it, if it's not the locals, there are some, Africans that get into that stuff too, like maybe the trafficking ring, like I told you, and stuff like that. And that's the last thing I want to be confused for. Yeah, the stereotypes. I told you, man, they'll get into it all the time. I think I'm good, man. I'm sorry, I've been coughing a little bit. The weather's changing. I don't like it. But I'm telling you guys, if you haven't copped the ebook, Mike the PI's Quick Guide for First Timers to the Philippines, I am not sure what you are waiting on. Don't know why you're sleeping, but you are not living your life until you've picked up this book. I'm telling you guys, you should definitely refer this book to a friend. Christmas time is coming up. This would definitely make a great Christmas gift for a friend. So I'm telling you, go to the link in the description below and cop the book for a friend, or get a book for yourself. And then you tell your people, man, I want you to read this book. If you ever plan on going to the Philippines, you need to read this book. You know what I'm saying? Christmas time is coming soon, and there may be a couple of you that are trying to make the trip to the Philippines during the holiday season. Maybe it's your first trip, your second trip, your third trip. Doesn't matter. That book is going to be your guide. That book is going to be your Bible, people. That book is going to help you and prevent you from getting caught up in unnecessary things, and it will definitely prepare you for worst case scenarios, people. I am not here to dictate to you, tell you what to do, how to do, and when to do. This is simply a conversation between me and you. So get the book, ladies and gentlemen. Link in the description below. I'm here for you. Email me if you need me. MikeThePIGuide@gmail.com. Facebook page, add me up, like me, whatever it may be. Follow me at Mike the PI Guide, all lowercase, one word. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that ends my time with you today. It's been real. It's been fun. I appreciate the support 100%. And I see this book doing real big things. And it's going to do big things because I have you guys with me. I trust you guys. Y'all gonna get the word out. I'm gonna continue to press it. I'm definitely gonna keep putting it out. I said, because I think this is what people need. This isn't a want or a desire. I feel like you need this book. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like this book is needed in the world today. Simply because if I think about it, there are a lot of people who come into the Philippines blind. You don't want to be blind in the Philippines, people. You don't want to be blind with your eyes shut. And you don't want to be blinded by Filipino beauty. You don't want to be blinded in that particular instance. You need to know. You need to know what to look for and what to look out for to protect yourself in the long run. I do not want any of my guys getting screwed over in the country. Foreigners, open your eyes. Let this book enlighten you. And if you have a friend who needs help, recommend this book. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita, mabuhay. Peace.